The Wednesday Week is sponsored by Michael Constantine Wealth Management. We bet you can't find a financial advisor closer to Hillsborough Stadium.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of the Wednesday Week. My name's Dan Fudge, and with me I've got Blair, Ash, and Stevie. Blair, another rare run out because you're part of the cup team, so we thought we'd give you another shout just to get you some minutes in. You know what I mean? Are you all right, pal? How's it going?
Yeah, it's like got the Wednesday injury record has gone to the podcast.
Yeah. You're like Brennan. You know what I mean? Just get something out when we're absolutely short.
Yeah, I did a few Notts County podcasts, and then you've got me back in.
He's got his shirt and it says to keep.
Yeah. Happy with that. Yeah, doing good.
Nice to have you on again, Stevie. How's your week been, pal? You all right?
Yeah, it's been good. Wednesday that feels like a Friday because it's just been absolutely full on. But cracking on, mate.
And what about you, Smash? How's it going, Paul?
Shit, thanks for asking.
Oh, well, that's lovely. That's a heartwarming tale for everybody. Now, we should all be in good spirits, and I'm including you in this one, Smash. That we absolutely battered Cheltenham Town on the last game, on the last outing. It started out well, didn't it, Blair?
Well, it started out fantastic, didn't it? We're going to go behind. God, Ash knows him. Simon, North Yorkshire Owls lad. He didn't even have time to have a rant before we equalised, which is good. But I think phone just pops up, useless C word about the team, and then Luongo with the overhead kick. And I think we're lucky, but League One officiating is so poor because I think we're lucky about that stud. I think that could have been ruled out for high foot, if you ask me, because it was quite close to that geezer's head.
Yeah.
But
overhead kicks are the weird one, aren't they?
No one knows the rule, do they, about that overhead kick? But thankfully it went in.
I think if it looks spectacular, I think you're allowed to have it.
I don't think Luongo's did.
No, it didn't. I tell you what it reminded me of. Do you remember when we beat Manchester United? I'm going back about 25 years now. We beat Manchester United. We beat them about, I think, 2-0 or 3-1 or something. I think Van der Hauw played in goal for them. And Paolo Di Canio just literally fell down with his leg stuck out, and he just rolled underneath the keep. It was very reminiscent of that. But the way the Sheffield Wednesday media made it sound like a sublime overhead kick was pretty impressive, wasn't it? I mean, you know what? Let's start from the start and take it away. We've got decent lineup again. You know what I mean? This is probably the second week running where we've had probably a good choice of players to get through. Harley Dean starting. And
he's a proper centre half in.
Yeah. I mean, Stevie, you're from the centre half school there. What's your, Blair floated a question before you guys came on. I'm going to ask it to you. If you had to make a choice between him or Iorfa, talking about contracts, talking about who's available, you know what I mean, all the rest of it, it's a big question, isn't it?
It was Jordan's story I mentioned. Who would you have, Jordan's story or?
You said Iorfa bollocks.
Iorfa or Jordan's story next season. If you could have one.
Who's partnering Dean then, essentially?
Yeah.
Are we talking about guaranteeing that they're going to be injury free in a perfect world? If you had them injury free for the
perfect world, you've got two. You've got to pick 2 out of 3 names. Then, so you've got Dean, Iorfa, and Story. What 2 are you picking?
Oh, it's like Sophie's choice. It's like picking Molly or Olivia.
Isn't it?
I think Dean's done all right. I think the one thing that I would say about Dean, in all seriousness, is you've got to temper it all with a little bit of caution in the sense that we've seen maybe half a dozen games max out the guy.
Mm-hmm.
We bring players in on loan, and they'll hit the ground running over a sustained period of time. I would question whether or not he's going to be able to maintain. I thought to highlight one of the issues on Saturday, was that last ditch tackle that he performed, the sliding in the second half at 2-1. I thought that's the kind of defending you want to see in League One football. That's what we expect to see at Hillsborough. Bodies on the line, people chucking everything at making sure a defender is a defender. And I thought he was outstanding there. I think for me, controversially, I would argue that Story probably edges it because he's been a little bit more consistent over a more sustained period of time.
Dean's only played 2 90 minutes and 8 in a 12 minutes, so you can't take note on that.
So I temper it all. It's a question you'd need to ask me if they'd all got maybe a dozen games under the belt having a run. I think what I've seen out of Iorfa, I think what gives Iorfa maybe a bit of an edge is that he's got the pace that the other two haven't, and he's one of those players that will get us out of the shit. And when we're bringing the ball out from the back, he's a lad who will carry the ball out from the back, and I think he can make yardage up the pitch. I like Iorfa. I don't think he does a lot wrong. He for me, he's the sort of defender that I think gets in there week in, week out. Hutch as well, I think, gets in week, and it's one of the other two for me. And we haven't even mentioned Liam Palmer.
Well, it sounds, Ash, like, Liam Palmer seems to have fallen down the pecking order to some of these names that we were just talking about. I mean, Stevie's absolutely right. Story himself has come into the team. He's coming late. He's coming on loan, and he's very rarely put a foot wrong for me. What about you?
Yeah, I've got to agree with that. Definitely, he's been, over the last few months since he arrived, he's been one of the more consistent centre-backs with what we've been playing. He looks good on the ball, likes to carry the ball out, good passer. In the last, say half dozen games, I could probably put on 2 or 3 bits where you could say, we could have just done a bit better or made the better, but that's it. Very, very rare that we've seen him.
He's not had any
or anything like.
Yeah, he's not had any Odebayo howlers, has he?
No, he looks really accomplished, and there's obviously a reason why he's left Preston to come to Wednesday. But I don't think we'll have a cat in hell's chance to sign him up permanently.
Mate, we're Sheffield Wednesday, aren't we? Do what we want, don't we?
Just purely on cost. Not that I don't think he'd want to come. I just think the price that Preston would probably want to demand for him, even if he's been League One for half of this season, I think he'll still be. Yeah, of course. And I don't think we'll, even if, which we won't, but even if we get promoted, I don't think we'll have the cash.
Oh, we'll come back to that one, Ash. I think I think we'll come back to that. Blair, let's get back to the game.
We're 10 minutes in.
10 minutes in. 10 minutes in, and we're already dropping centre backs. We're not signing any bugger. We're not getting promoted. Now, Blair, let's come back to the game. Now, shitty start, and then Luongo's brought it back up level. And the goal of the game for me came from Gregory. I thought, I thought that was the best goal of the game for me. Because I think he just went, this is going in, pal. And
he needed that goal.
He did. He
really needed it as well.
He's had a bit of a break, and then there was a weird one of Mendes. Like, I think he was playing up front, or was he playing behind Gregory?
Well, you say he was, but that's where it was on paper. But he wasn't up front very often. He dropped too far on the wide again, like he did against Burton. He's not a striker, is he?
No.
So it's probably natural thoughts. I don't know. I'm not a footballer and never have been. His natural thoughts would probably go onto the left or go wide when he should have been really more. And there are a couple of occasions that, where is he? He should have been there, especially in the second half, just before he come off, I think.
It's the type of position you'd want Windass to be playing behind Lee Gregory, isn't it?
Yeah. It's a bit hard for him, I suppose. He got pushed up there, but he did all right. He had that I think it was the first half where Gregory spun the centre half, put a good ball in. He was a couple of inches away from tapping in the middle. That was good positioning. Got in there, but just not. But he just didn't do it on the couple of occasions that he should have been there. He weren't. So, but like I say, other than that, he didn't do anything wrong, did he? It's not like he missed a couple of sitters or anything like that. He just weren't in the right positions, I think, most of the time. For me,
fair enough.
Says a lot what Moore thinks about Sal and Canberra, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, of course.
He'd rather put a winger up front. I know Moore likes to put positions up mean anything to Moore, does he? Puts anyone anywhere, but do you know what I mean? He does speak volumes, and we had a summer on freebies and loans, and strikers are the most expensive players, aren't they? And I think that's where we've struggled to get a freebie or a good loan is a striker. We managed to get Lee Gregory somehow. He's got a year left in his contract, doesn't he? As well. We somehow got Stoke to let him go for no. Yeah, so we did all right. We did all right there, but that's something in summer, regardless what league we're in, we need to address big time. And it probably will have to cost some money as well.
Now,
might not though. Like Alfie May, the guy who scored against us, 20 goals, could be I mean, he's about as tall as.
Yeah, would you be happy with him if he
kneecap.
turned up next?
Well, that's it. Thing is, though, when was the last time we had a 20 goal scorer in a year? It doesn't matter where you get
Neil
them
Mello,
from.
isn't it?
Where you get them from, if they do it, it's. I'm sure if he turned up and he scored 20 goals for a season for us, like I said, 5'0", and you'd want that, wouldn't you?
There we go, exclusive. Wednesday of signed Alfie May.
Yeah, you see, we're already at the end of the season already. We've not been promoted. We're not signing anybody.
I'm not saying him per se, but it would be nice to. It would be nice to come this time of the season, and we've got a name on the top scorers board, so it would be nice.
But we have got everyone has scored, which is another good start.
21 players, isn't it? I think it is. 21 different players this season.
Is that how many we've had?
Yeah, in all comps. Yeah.
Now, now, Blair, I did get a text message. Now, you were on last week, and I did get a text message about your appearance last week, and I found this quite funny. So I
from
thought
your mum, Dan.
It's from ex-podcaster and Wednesday week regular James Marriott. He texted me and he said it's been bugging me who Blair sounds like, and I've just realised it's James Acaster. So if you're listening to this in your car now, and you start hearing Blair talk, then see what you think.
Take it. He's quite a funny guy. I'll take it.
Take it. Now, Steve, in some news that was broken by other podcast, Wednesday Till I Die, regular tweeters, they told us that Josh Windass was not going to be available for this weekend, and then the following day, Alex and Joe confirmed it. There was a lot of comments on there about whether we should keep Josh Windass. Now that's just nonsense, isn't it? Or can you see their point?
What, keeping him?
Yeah. What? No. Keep him. I don't want to get rid of it. I think I don't feel like. Go on, Steve. We talked about this. Go on.
No, I don't get it. I don't get the negativity around it. All right, he might be made of biscuits, but he's a saleable commodity. And in all seriousness, again, we're talking about potentially having somebody. I'd like to think that when we've got an asset such as him. And that's the reason I talk about being a saleable commodity, is because people hold him in high regard. He won't struggle for walking into a team in Championship next year if we decided to sell him. So why we would suddenly decide that it's the right thing to do to get rid of a player like that, I do not understand. He's probably, I'm saying I don't know the answer to this. He's probably one of the top earners at the club. But for me, I think if we can get him in and get him fit, and if it's a niggle, and to this day I don't know what it is that's not quite right. I think they talked about him being out for the season. I'm not sure that it's actually going to be the case. I think I've seen somewhere that he might be back before the end of the season. I don't know if that's true or not, but if he is, and we can get him in and around our squad as even if it's just as an impact player, going into a 2-leg semi. And I'll tell you something else, by the way. I would back us at home at the minute against anybody. I would absolutely back us against anybody at home. If we get a home draw in or finish in a position where we are at home first in the playoffs, and we can go out there and put in a performance like we have against, and let's say it was just Cambridge, but a Cambridge type performance, or flashes of the second half against Burton. When we control games at home, we look like I don't think there's anybody that can live with us. And I think that's a positive. And to look down the bench and have somebody like a Windass potentially coming off the bench and adding to the firepower that we're likely to have in terms of Gregory, if we can get him in and firing. What we haven't mentioned tonight is the fact that the only reason Mendes Lang, as far as I'm concerned, played on Saturday is because Berahino's back in form and was off on international duty, because Berahino gets into our starting 11 at the moment as well. So for me, it's a nice headache to have to keep Windass, but I think it's a nonsense suggesting selling him.
Do you agree, Ash?
I ain't bothered, really, to be honest.
It's the energy I'm here for, Ash. It's the energy I'm here for.
He wouldn't walk into any team. He'd probably hobble in on crutches, wouldn't he? I don't think. I don't know. Yes, when we've seen him, he is producing. There's no doubt in that. Looking at his stats from the 193 minutes he's played or whatever it is, he's scored and he's assisted. But you can't carry players. We always say when World Cup squads come around, there's always an England player that's injured and we pick him.
Yeah.
You can't carry players, can you? And if there's always going to be a doubt of his ability to strap on and get on the pitch, then you've
I couldn't leave that one.
you've got to think twice, haven't you? And if he is saleable, and it's not very often that we can say that, apart from Green, that we've made a profit on players. It'll be a serious question. Obviously, it will be.
He's the type of player that we'd let go at end of season and would sign for Rotherham, MK Dons, whoever it is that don't go up with us, and we'll go and score 25, 30 goals next year. Come back to Hillsborough, get hat-trick.
and then we'll sign him back, and then he'll get injured again for Christ knows what. What about you, Blair? Come on, give me it's a saleable asset, but would we rather have him?
Yeah, I like him. I like him because he's a bit of a dickhead.
Do you know what? I've actually got that word written down because he is.
He's going to get fucking clipped and played so many times now.
And you want them sort of players in your team sometimes, don't you? You know what I mean? He's going to piss the other team off, get in people's faces, wind them up. Do you know what I mean?
Shithouse him.
Yeah, shithouse. There we go for that. And God, he's talented, isn't he? He can score some great goals. Do you know what I mean? I think he's a good player. I think he's great.
Well, I tell you what, with Josh Windass, we all remember the "shut your fucking mouth." You can even see that it pronounced that with a on the end, couldn't you?
I know. Will Smith copied him, didn't he?
He does have that. Let's be diplomatic. He does have a bite. He has a desire to win, and he don't care who he pisses off to do it. And that's a trait that you need to have to be a professional footballer. I also feel that we've discussed in the past a little bit that he. I don't know. I get the impression that, and this is pure conjecture, and I know you're listening to this, Josh. So you know what I mean. I'm sorry, mate. I just get the impression that you feel like I'm looking at him now, straight down the camera. I just get the impression that you feel like you're too good for this club. Do you know what I mean? Like you deserve better because you played for Rangers and you know what I mean? And you are a talented footballer, don't get me wrong, but the good times are coming back, pal. Like, you know what I mean? Does anybody get that? Anybody? I get it. You don't want to be in League One. I completely understand that. And I, there's part of me that actually agrees with his, I don't celebrate goals in League One, all the rest of it. But does anybody else get that vibe that he's looking for a bigger club and a better challenge?
Yeah, of course he is. Why wouldn't he?
Well,
he's a professional footballer, isn't he? Of
course.
They're all, 99% of them thick as shit, aren't they? But they do want to.
They can't all be Graham Lasso, mate. You know what I mean?
they all want to better themselves, and they're not stupid. Well, they are stupid, but they know that if they can get 50p more somewhere else in a top different league, they're going to go.
Mm-hmm. 50p.
Yeah, they're on minimum wage, aren't they, footballers?
Yeah, that's it. We remember the furlough days.
But you're going to want to, aren't you? Ambition and stuff. You want to play for, I don't know, maybe a relegated Premier League team next season that's in the Championship. I don't know, or someone prove yourself in the Premier League. Has he ever played in the Premier League? I don't think so. He's played in like the Scottish Premier Farmers League, and done well for Rangers. So
yeah,
why not? Why not? But I don't. As one who never really scored goals, figures that why wouldn't you celebrate? I don't get that. I think that's bollocks. He should celebrate. He should, for the team he's playing for. He should celebrate. He's playing for that team. He's playing for the 20-odd thousand that turn up. And for him to say, I think his old man made a comment that you don't celebrate in League One. Why not? He's a football, but he's not a striker. He always is not a striker.
And don't slag off Neymar.
And but yeah, why not? He'll always want to go to a different team, bigger team, or play in a higher league, score goals for.
And do you think that's difficult for us to understand? Because we know we are the massive, you know what I mean? So we do have our blue and white striped tinted specs on. I mean, Steve, did you have something to add there?
No, there's a couple of things. Just on that, I think my response to Ash there is, and I'd agree with the majority of what he said, to be honest with you, but I look at it and I think, I hate to go back to him, but how many times have we had Barry Bannon come out and say, I'm not going to rest until we've got this team back where it belongs? And I live in a world, I live in a world where I want 6, 7, 8 lads to be here long term and build a project and get together and get, try and get us out of the league. And for all these criticisms, I think it's great that Bannon comes out and says, away from, the whole, my family's settled up and my wife's from Sheffield or whatever, and my kids are settled and so forth. He talks about getting the club out of League One. He talks about putting the club back where it belongs. It'd be nice to have somebody like a Windass going, do you know what? I've heard what he said, and I'm going to stick with the project as well. And my worry is, and this was the second point I was going to make, I've said all of that about wanting to keep Windass. On reflection, I go back and I think, if there were a list of maybe 10 players, how many people are above Windass that I'd want to keep? And who's top of that list? And we talk about our loanees. Would I want to see Iorfa go? Absolutely not. Nobody's talking about nailing down Luongo to a contract, and he's out of contract in the summer, is he not?
Is he?
Have to try and secure it.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, but they've said there's no contract talks at the minute, is there? Which you can see why, because for the obvious reasons, if we were nailed on League One, then they'd have contract talks or not. But because we don't know where we're going to be, then yeah,
I totally
an hard one. But you wait until end of season, aren't you? It's hard because but the players must know. They've had the representatives have had words or know something that they are talking. They've got to be, but not specifically saying.
It's if this happens, this will happen.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, you don't, wouldn't you?
You go above, or I go above Windass, and I think, bloody hell, Luongo, essential. Bannon is tied down anyway. Is somebody going to come and look at buyers and go, look, we'll get you out of this league? Johnson, revelation. I'm not being funny. Jack Hunt over the last few weeks has been absolute quality. So there's a core of players that are playing at the minute that I think these are the players that we need to be looking at and saying we need to keep hold of and build a squad around. We talked about it when me and Fudge had that little disagreement about 3-4 weeks ago around whether or not it's what's success and what isn't. For me personally, I'd nail my colours to the mast now. If given all the injuries that we've had and given all the time it's taken to bed some of the players in, and I know that's not a popular decision on this podcast, it takes time, and we didn't know what our best 11 is. If somebody said to me now, you will keep that squad and you will finish in 7th and you'll have that squad and by and large will be the same squad next year, I'd take it, because I think we'll piss the league next year with that squad.
We should piss it this year. We should piss it this year.
What if we get injuries next year? Are you going to say same again next year?
This is it, isn't it? This is the point, and I get, like I said, I know that that's not a popular decision or opinion, should I say? You can't legislate for the injuries that we've had, and I know that we've had conversations earlier in the season where we've talked about, a jinx on Middlewood Road, and Ben's always talking about blowing the fucking thing up and so on and so forth. If we could keep our squad fit and firing, and we have the same squad this year, next year as we have this year, no problem at all.
Okay, all right. So personally, I want to get promoted, or it's been a failure this season. But especially with the squad we've got.
Believe you me.
Yeah. Now, Blair, let's come back to the game on Saturday. Now, Ash, I'll probably know your feelings on it, but Blair,
yes.
We've built Cheltenham.
Mm-hmm.
It's Cheltenham.
It is Cheltenham.
Now, there's a few people, and we got into that waxing lyrical about it, and all them people coming out. I see more tweets now saying, where's all them bloody people slagging Darren Moore off than what I do with people actually slagging bloody Darren Moore off. You know what I mean? Now, it's Cheltenham. Was there an element of this game on Saturday that was very much, all right, yeah, we beat, right, who's next? Do you know what I mean? Like, what? You know what I mean? Of course we beat bloody Cheltenham.
I mean, can we mention Jack Hunt first?
If you want, mate.
Before we get into it, because
I'll just make a note of that. Blair wants to mention Jack Hunt.
Because he's scored his first goal, and he has been knocking on the door for bloody ages now, hasn't he?
Yeah.
In that more attacking wing back position.
Yeah, but the problem is the door he's been knocking on is the one 3 streets away when the ball ends up in front garden.
It's Vic's door.
It's funny, isn't it? Because it's not just Jack Hunt. Every time you see this, he's only scored 1 goal for the club, and it always seems to be an amazing goal. And you think, how the hell has he scored a goal which takes that much technique and hit it that clean? And even he's ever scored 1 goal. I can't think of any off the top of my head now for other clubs, but it's a thing. But players who've only scored like one or two score bloody great goals, and you think, how have they only
Lee
scored
Briscoe springs
There we
straight
go.
to mind.
yeah. But he took his goal really well. I mean, he hit that volley better than Sow and Canberra can do, and that's their job. So fair play to him.
Fair play, Jack Hunt. Fair play. Now,
It was.
how did you
It's
feel?
only Cheltenham. I mean, should be smashing Cheltenham every week.
Too fucking right. What about you, Steve?
I know you said Gregory's was a goal of the game last week. I thought Jack Hunt's was a goal at season, to be honest with you.
Fuck
really?
off.
I am putting it out there now. I am putting
Get
it
out.
there now.
Are you right? I need to know what criteria you measure this against, Steve. Does it involve feeling and build and euphoria and other unquantifiable criteria, or are you just going?
You want a
I think
shit
it's best goal of
snorter,
the
don't
season.
you? You want Bannon's from a couple weeks ago,
Bannon's.
25-yard out shit snorter. Bang.
Yeah.
You want that, don't you?
I've watched it back. I have watched it back because I put a tweet out that got some love on Sunday morning about that goal. And I'll tell you what, the goalkeeper for Cheltenham was the last player to touch the ball before anybody touched the ball on that team again. He takes the goal kick, he pings it down. We kept the ball for 35 seconds.
Oh, so you're telling me it's a team goal, which is what makes it
The team effort, everybody getting the ball from Hutch heading it. Johnson picks the ball up in left wing back position. It gives the ball to Luongo. Luongo presses down the field. Johnson overlaps. It goes through. Johnson, Luongo. We ping the ball across to the right hand side. Hunt brings it down. He sends it back. Bannon gets involved. It goes back to Luongo. Luongo knocks it into Bannon. Bannon flicks it up. It goes over his shoulder without looking. Johnson juggles the ball.
Yeah, that was a bit cheeky, wasn't it? Yeah,
Juggles the ball. He's showboating. We've pinged the ball. I'm not being funny. We can talk about defending. He's pinged the ball over two centre halves where I would want my centre halves to be on the 6-yard box. And Jack Hunt has hit the volley of his life. That's the goal of the season.
So hang on then. Fullback scores goal from lovely team move. Not Carlos Alberto in 1970. Jack Hunt versus
Cheltenham.
It's only Cheltenham.
Steve
I get it.
League One goal of the season.
35 seconds.
Is that how long we keep it?
35 time it. 35 seconds.
35 seconds.
That's why I was late on tonight. I was watching it over again.
What about you, Ash?
Can we just mention Marvin Johnson of how great he's been ever since he's been?
We've talked about nothing else for about 5 weeks, Blair. Ash, tell me. We'll come back to it. Ash, tell me about how you felt after that. Was there any euphoria involved, or was it just very much, yep, done, on to the next one?
Right. I'm going to say something very controversial now, and the Twitter. I know no one really listens, but Twitter will have this. I left on 70 minutes.
That's early, that.
Sorry, I'm just getting word. Somebody at the Wednesday Till I Die podcast, heads exploded. Expect at least 10 tweets about it in the next 5 minutes. Go on. What?
I had a date.
With what?
The dog track. It was a good friend of mine. It was his birthday, his wife's birthday, and we had a nice table booked at the dog track, and so I had to leave. So I missed Jack Hunt's goal, and I missed Byers' goal. So 70 minutes. So but no, what I saw up to 71 minutes and about 39 seconds, actually, I think it was. Impressive, yeah, of course. Like the first 4 minutes was a bit dire, but it was one of them where I think we needed to get that goal, Luongo's goal, back as quick as possible, just so we're on even and it reset the game. Because I think as after that goal we got after 7 minutes, as it showed, like the first half, we created some chances, but nothing sparkling. So it were a bit of hard work for us. Obviously, the second half was totally different. A totally different team come out. But I'm glad that we got the goal when we did, as soon as we did, because I think it could have been
shit house 1-0 on their behalf.
Well, at half time, and then you'd have got obviously on Twitter, social, or what's happening.
I had the memes ready. Ready.
So I think it was good that we just didn't let it phase us. Got the goal back, and it was second half. I don't think you can't complain about a second half, really. I don't think any player did anything wrong. You couldn't say, he's always someone that you can pick out or anything. I think it was just like Stevie said for Hunt's goal. It was a good team goal. I think it was a good team second half, which I don't think we can say that very often. There's always one or two players that you think, oh, like if I don't know, Canberra or Sow's missed bloody 89,000 chances and we still have a good second half. It was just, it was good. I enjoyed it. It was a good game. Nothing.
Are you telling me you've not walked away going, yep, job done, on to the next one? Or are you sat there thinking we've shown tremendous character to come back from 1-0 that?
Well, we did, didn't we?
Well, yeah,
because how many times have we done that? Apart from this season, we've done it about 4 times now. But before that, it was like 2016 or whatever it was. But yeah, it was good. It was, yeah. I tell you what, I was a bit disappointed with, and this is
this is shocking information. Hold the line.
Yeah,
go on.
The refereeing, not per se the actual refereeing. When Byers went off for an accidental clash of heads, blood cut. Why were we penalised for 4 minutes to play with 10 men?
I think it's the biggest fault in the football rules. It's not goal line technology. It's not the offside rule and the way it's interpreted and all the rest. I think for me, that is the biggest issue. So, as long as I've followed football, that's the biggest problem for me. Players who get injured by another player, and let's say it's a foul, but it's not a sending off foul, but the case has got a cut or something. You know what I mean?
Clash your heads into or whatever.
And they get if ice hockey, they get 4 minutes power play. Like
yeah.
You know what I mean? Get the other geezer stood next to him, get him on the stitches. Do you know what I mean? Get him to put make him the Vaseline boy.
It's a speck of blood as well, isn't it? It's like you can't even see it.
Yeah, it was a bit of claret, but it was just I couldn't understand it. I don't know how in the laws of the game that's fair to the home side of this time for an accidental clash of heads or whatever. He goes off. Rightly, he has to go off. I'm not saying that. It's the fact that
they've let one player up.
Drop ball, back to us, back to them, whoever it was, and that's it. You just carry on.
No, it's funny. And then when these players pretend to be injured and they fall down with cramp and then they let the physio run on and stuff and they waste 5-10 minutes, you just think, why can't you get them off the pitch then? Do you know what I mean? But yeah, it's stupid.
I got booked once for dragging somebody off by their shoelaces. But anyway, Blair.
Yes, mate.
Blair Acaster. Blair is how they pronounce you the other side of the Pennines. You wanted to talk about Neymar.
Yeah, just a really small comment, because I think in the past, our team, and we're still guilty of it now. I think sometimes, even though we've got some talented players, if Bannon doesn't do it, they sort of don't know what to do. So it's like, shit, Bannon's not doing it anymore. What do we do if Bannon's not doing it? And I think Johnson has took on the mantle of I'll take a game by the scruff of the neck and I'll do something brilliant. And it's
I'd add Longo into that.
Yeah,
I think he don't give a shit about Barry Bannon, whether he's there or not. I think he plays his own game. But, there's an element of that we do lean on him quite a lot. I think...
and I think it's just natural when, someone's that much better than you. You have the ball, mate. Go on, you do something. But
that's why we let Stevie talk on this podcast a lot.
But I think it's just a quick one of Johnson. I just think he's been, ever since he's been relieved of his ridiculous duty of being centre defence, he's been fantastic.
I think there'll be a groundswell, and I've already seen rumblings of it now. When we come to Player of the Year, I think Johnson's name's going to be right up there.
Oh, yeah.
100%. I think Luongo's going to be in there. I think Johnson's going to be in there. I'd even argue Story being in there, even though he's played half a season.
Yeah, but Bannon's won it already, so it's game.
Well, he probably might do. He is by far our most technically gifted footballer. You know what I mean? But the problem
I wouldn't say he's been overall the best of the season.
But he's
far from it, really.
Do you not think it's what we discussed last week, isn't it? About Bannon's bare minimum is some other players' absolute best. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, for example, Bannon at 60% is still a hugely better player than Joey Pelopessi.
Bannon at 6% is a better player than Pelopessi.
Shut your fucking mouth.
Fucking Ash at 6%.
Right. So, Are we saying that there wasn't a sense of job done there? We're saying that, it's that was a long circle to go around, wasn't it? So we're sort of saying there that, we showed tremendous character to come back. And do you know what? I'll agree with you. But when you shine the cold light of day on it, it's Cheltenham.
Yeah, and then you saw the League One, EFL League One. We had like 5 players in, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what you're saying? It was a good performance. It wasn't they were shite.
But we've had that against some teams, haven't we? They've been absolute dog shit. And we have won 2-0, or like Burton away. They was awful, 1-2-0. But we're going to get that. But earlier on the season, we thought that, didn't we? And look at the results we got. So something has changed. If it's mentality, if it's getting these injuries back, or Darren Moore actually knowing how to pick a team, then you can say it was just Cheltenham. It is just Wimbledon on Saturday. So we'll play three teams in the bottom 5 in the last 7 games, is it?
Are you stealing Steve's stats, Dave? Is that what you're doing now? Like, you know what I mean? Now
I'm actually doing a bit of research and homework 5 minutes before the pod.
Yeah. So George Byers capped it off, 4-1 win to Sheffield Wednesday, which actually took us into the playoffs. The first time we've been out, above 7th in about 7 years. So that's nice, isn't it? So we are now officially in the playoffs. It's now in our own hands because there's nobody got games in hand below us. So whether we finish in the playoffs is now down to ourselves. All of a sudden, the March 21st weekend, May 21st weekend is now back on everybody's calendar because for some reason we're before the League 2-1. I don't understand why. It just is. So that's moved on. We're 6th now. Coming up this Saturday is Wimbledon, Steve. They've just got rid of their gaffer. They've not won since December. We know what's coming, don't we?
Oh, yeah. We're recording. You can't see me.
Yeah. It's mainly audio. You know what I mean?
They announced Mark Bowen today.
Have they?
Yeah, he's gone in as manager. So, on paper, it's the stereotypical banana skin, isn't it?
Yeah. It's the classic.
We are going to labour towards either a 0-0, 1-1, or a very late 1-0 win, all being well. I don't know. It's been a long week, as I've said. I don't know enough about Wimbledon to be able to offer any sort of informed opinion, to be honest. But I'd like to think with the run that they've been on, the manager going out and the Bowen coming in with 3 days working with them, that we should still have enough. And I have said previously, I think anybody that comes to us is in for a long afternoon. I do think we're very good at home at the moment. It's just how they set up. If they set up to block out, and I can't remember what the phrase was that Moore used the other day when he was talking about players lying deep, I think it was, and getting in and around the box and being difficult to play through, like Accrington did. It'll be a frustrating afternoon. Whether or not he wants to come in and say they're going to start trying to play expansive football. Anybody that wants to come and try and play football against Sheffield Wednesday at Hillsborough is going to get turned over. That is happening.
Absolutely.
So it depends what Wimbledon turns up in terms of their game plan. But on paper, it's got drab 1-1 written all over it, hasn't it?
Well, it's interesting actually. So Blair, have you ever seen that meme on the interwebs where there's 2 teams who just can't seem to win, and it's just a video of 2 clowns fighting?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So what we've got from 20th in League One is 5 clowns in a WWE style Royal Rumble. No, in the last 5 games, each of these teams, nobody's chalked up a green tick. You know what I mean? So
Donny, the form team as well.
I'm just looking at it. Doncaster are the form team because they've got 2 draws in the last 5. Yeah. So Wimbledon there, 5 losses on the bounce in the form table. They are rock bottom with hold tight the crew Alexandra. What do you reckon? Has this got banana skin written all over it?
I mean, it shouldn't have.
And
but like we said last week, it'd be so Sheffield Wednesday to do this. Do you know what I mean? Everyone thinks their team is the one who's end everyone's run and everything like that. I mean, we should absolutely fucking murder them, shouldn't we? Let's be honest. We're going for the playoffs. We've got a far better team than them. They lost their best player in the summer. Is that one who went to Wrexham? And it was like it made all the papers because he left the League One club to go to a National League team just because Ryan Reynolds spent a lot of money on him.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm like I said, I tried doing a bit of like research on them before the pod, and it's very difficult when they haven't won a game since December. They've got Sam Cosgrove up front, scored 2 goals all season.
Hat trick.
Yeah, I mean, it would be so Sheffield Wednesday to lose to this, but dear God, I mean, we're going for the playoffs. We've got Sunderland breathing down his neck. We've got to win. We've got to beat them now. We've got 7 games left.
Okay. Now, Ash, we were there in that London, weren't we? I lost my rag with somebody.
Yeah.
Just shocking information. Those that have met me. Now, we were 2-0 up, coasting, absolutely smashing the back doors out of them, weren't we, Smash?
We were indeed. And then he made a couple of weird substitutions.
Mm-hmm.
And it all went Pete Tong.
Yep.
What evidence have we got over the last thing that if a team sits deep, have we got a plan B to break them down, i.e. Gillingham?
Mm-hmm.
So if Wimbledon come, they need every point they can get. And I believe the stat was that we've won the most points in 2022 at home, 44, is it?
Something like that, yes.
Something. So they want every point. So they're going to come and sit deep. I'm just hoping that Darren Moore has found a plan B somewhere, because we've seen in the past that when teams sit deep and don't want to play, we find it extremely difficult to break them down.
That's a really interesting point. Now, the only thing I would do
yes.
That's a really solid point, that Smash.
Thank
so
you.
yeah, they're going to come up. They're going to Jose Mourinho park the bus, and they're going to go nope, hoof, and there's going to be this poor striker up front grafted his knackers off for 45 minutes. Then they sub him off, and then he's going to graft his knackers off, and then they're going to score a corner from a hoof ball. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We don't have a great record unpicking teams. However, since that last time we played Wimbledon, there has been a couple of long-range rip snorters hit the back of the onion bag. You know what I mean? And Gregory's goal specifically, and Bannon the other.
Bannon scored 2, hasn't he, in the last few weeks as well?
Absolutely, means we're not afraid to have a pop. And to be fair, Bannon had a really decent shot against Gills, but we need to make sure that we're going at them. Do you know what I mean? I felt with Gillingham, it was flat as a witch's tit. Like, you know what I mean? We didn't really go for it. And I just don't.
Why not though? Because they had like 4,000 Wednesday. It's not like it was.
Yeah, it was like a home game.
200. 200 there, was it? I can't see why they didn't go at it or didn't, and why that happens every now and again. Which Sheffield Wednesday is going to turn up?
Mm-hmm.
We can have the team that turned up and obviously, beat Cheltenham last week, or we could have the team that, well, basically didn't turn up at Gillingham.
Exactly.
That's my fear, that if the team that turned up against Gillingham turns up again, I don't trust Darren Moore to be able to change it, to unpick that type of team. Well, he can't, because he didn't do it against Gillingham, did he?
What about you, Steve? What do you reckon? So Ash has done a really good point there. He's made a really, really good point, though. How good are we at unpicking teams that have turned up to camp on the penalty spot?
Terrible. We're absolutely terrible. We can't.
Oh, Steve, that's twice you've agreed with me.
We cannot do it. If they come, and this is the point, if they come and put 8, 9, 10 players behind the ball, 18-yard box, 20, 25 yards out, and they just say, right, come and play against us, then it's going to be a long afternoon. It's going to be a long afternoon. But my worry is when that happens, and we've heard it before. I sit on the south, as people are aware. The first misplaced Bannon pass within 2 minutes on a Saturday afternoon, you've got people throwing their arms up in the air. If we're not going out, and this is the mentality, we'll be turning up on Saturday going, not won since December, 5 on the bounce loss, no manager, this.
All done it tonight, haven't we?
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. You know, so we're expecting to go in there, and if we're not 3-0 up after 15 minutes, it's a disaster. And I think the thing about the Cheltenham game is, for everything that we've talked about tonight, you know, we can talk about wanting to steamroll Cheltenham, getting it out of the way, whatever you want to say about it. I think the thing about Cheltenham was it was a workmanlike performance, and we were solid. And the fact that we didn't panic when we went 1-0 down, and I know we went down 1-0 down early, we replied straight away, but we were level for a period of time, weren't we? And then, you know, we get the second goal, 57, 58 minutes, I think it was. we were patient and we were, we'd done all right. But I think Cheltenham came and tried to play football. And, when they did bits and started to move, we started to expose those gaps that they play. If Mark Bowen's coming in from wherever it is that he was last, I don't know if it was the Wales national team or if he's been anywhere since, might have been at Reading or somewhere like that. If he's coming in and going, right, I'm going to play this expansive football and we're going to try and be competitive, they'll get steamrolled, sadly. They will. They'll absolutely get steamrolled because 1 to 11, they do not have the players that we have. If they come in and sit as a back four or whatever formation they're going to play and say, right, come and break us down, we haven't got a plan B. That's the worry, And I think, to be honest with you, that's why we do better against the better sides. We do better against your Wickhams, against your MK Dons, against your Sunderlands when we were at it at home. I think the away game at Sunderland was a bit of a rogue result because of the fact that we'd not played in a couple of weeks. And yeah, we were shit, but it was still, if we'd have been on that momentum run, I don't think we lose 5-0. I think the problem is if they come in and just say, right, we're going to sit and you're going to try and play through us and break us down, we're going to have to be patient. We're going to have to hold his nerve.
I must admit, I'm struggling getting up for it. All right.
Hey.
So, all right, lads, listen, it's late, isn't it? So, does anybody have any other business before I wrap this up? Steve, get a plug in for your thing.
Manager of the month, player of the month.
Yeah, it's been a couple of weeks. 7th of May, we've just announced the first round of Wednesday Legends that are going to be playing in my charity game that I'm involved with Eve Merton's Dreams Trust. We're down at the Eco Power Stadium on Saturday the 7th of May.
Is that the keep mode?
It's the keep mode with a fancy new name. 1:30 kickoff. Early projections are we're trying to get around about 5,000 people to come and watch me kick a ball around next to Des Walker again. So far announced Des Walker, Chris Waddle, Chris Brunt, and Ross Wallace. Rovers have announced in the last week or so James Coppinger, Jason Price, Rob Jones, who we've had on the podcast. Rob Jones is turning out for Rovers this year.
Swear to God, one of the best podcasts we've ever put out. A lot better than this shit.
And I think I referenced it. I mean, he was a great guy to talk to last year, wasn't he?
We should do it again, shouldn't we? We should try get some players on and stuff. And
yeah, we'll get on that. Charge of £5 via Patreon.
Lockdown 2022.
Yeah. So if anybody has got a spare £1, £2, £3, £5, it'd be gratefully received on my donation page, which I've got pinned on my Twitter. My Twitter's SpendDog5. Tickets, if you're interested in coming down, contact me either through the podcast or via my personal Twitter, and I can sort you out with tickets. Those tickets go on my fundraising page. Will help me to be more likely to start the game than warm the bench. And I've said
what?
Yeah, if I don't,
Des is going to be behind SpendDog,
and so I've got to raise my game a little bit. But thank you to everybody that's donated so far. Thank you to everybody who's been in touch for tickets. Please keep pushing. Please keep spreading the word. If I tweet, please like and retweet, sharing it. It's all to a fantastic cause, and it's very much appreciated. Eve Merton's Dreams Trust. Hopefully, you'll get to see me running around and trying not to fall over a football.
Yeah, don't embarrass yourself. There's a lot of pressure from some Wednesday Legends there, Steve. You know what I mean?
Get them hamstrings stretched. Start
Ash,
now, Steve.
The back went last week, so
Ash, we'll get Steve's letter in. STEVE, you know what I mean? And we'll all just lift our tops up. Vic can be the W on the end. Right, listen to Dan Fudge. All right then, listen, that's it for tonight. Thanks a lot for joining us.
I had some other business.
But before we go, Ash has got some other business.
No, you're all right. No, don't matter. I was just saying the club have put out for the player of the month.
Okay.
The last month. So
okay, I'm happy to discuss that as it goes.
Sorry. I mean, I don't know if we stretch for time, Dan. I know.
No, mate, I've been padding for the last 20 minutes. Like, come on, man. So, right, who've we got here? Let me guess.
Last 50 minutes.
Yeah, innit? Let's get some players up here. Right. For me, let me pick out 3 players here. If you'll start picking 3 players out, I've got to go with Story, Luongo, and Jansen. Ooh. Does anybody have any players to chuck into that mix?
I've got no qualms on that. I think that's a solid 3. I think there's a good shout out for all of them. I don't think Luongo had his best game on Saturday. A couple of misplaced passes and stuff, but I think over the month, he's been solid. Really, really has.
I mean,
changed,
obviously you've got to put Bannon in the conversation. Of course, you have, because like I said, 60% Bannon is better. But does anybody else have it? So out of those 4 players, Bannon, Luongo, Story, who?
Byers.
All right. Right, okay.
He's been but
Yeah, been good.
I think
Shite against Gillingham.
If you,
all 11 was shite against Gillingham.
That's the problem, isn't it?
Say exactly the same. If you take the Gillingham game out,
Lincoln was in March as well, wasn't it?
Oh, piss off, Blair.
So Johnson edges it 'cause he was the only player who did all right against Lincoln.
Yes,
so there we go.
yes, there we
There
are.
we are then.
That's
so, ladies and
the-
gentlemen, the Wednesday week choice of manager because
That was easy.
Because he wasn't shite against Lincoln.
that's one way to win an argument in 3 seconds flat.
yeah, that was all right, that lads. Next up, we'll settle world peace with that type of decision making. You know what I mean? Listen, thanks a lot for
What
joining us.
about predictions?
For fuck's sake! Right,
You're
so-
shitting. How many years you been doing this?
12, mate. This is my 12th season. I'm so tired. Right, okay. Steve, for fuck's sake. Can I go to bed?
Sorry, Daniel.
2-0.
2-0, Wendy, Steve. 2-0. Blair, which project?
76-0.
76-0. And Ashley.
To who? Who's that, Blair?
Oh, that
Who's
was
to?
Wimbledon. That was Nick
Yeah,
Nil
Wimbledon.
76. Yeah.
You managed to bounce.
You're bouncing. We're to the moon. Yeah, I think it's either it is going to be. It's going to be I think it's going to be 3-0, but I don't think it's going to be a nice watch, easy watch, or even a good watch.
Yeah, I reckon it's going to be a
think
2
it's
late
gonna
goals. It's going to be 1-0 from early doors and be a shite
Yeah,
game.
I think yeah. But what we got 7 games left. I think we're going to take all the shit games we can get and just as many points. I think that's where we're at.
Sorry, Ash. We had it was Jeff, wasn't it, from Al's Americas was on the other week, and he said he made a great point. If somebody gives us 1-0 wins to the end of the season with shit performances, we're going to take it, aren't we?
Of course, yeah.
Yeah,
well,
absolutely.
yes, you will.
We're going to
Because
take
it's gonna be an end to the mean.
But Ash will be going to the dogs at half time.
yeah. Ash won't be going. Ash, I'm going to Bolton. I'm MK Dons. Jesus, MK Dons.
Glutton for punishment, pal. Glutton for
Mate.
punishment. Right then, so I'm also going to go with 3-0, and let me tell you the reasoning behind that is that Marvin Johnson is our player of the month, and the left back should always play number 3. I know he's number 18, so he should be number 3. Ergo 3-0. There you are. Argue with that. And I am now definitely going to bed. See you later.
The Wednesday week is sponsored by Michael Constantine Wealth Management. We bet you can't find a financial advisor closer to Hillsborough Stadium.